Every story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Olajumoke Latuji. In our major story, President Muhammadu Buhari pips $1 billion loan obtained for railway projects. Also in this package, Federal High Court sets date for judgment in a suit filed by former Deputy Governor of Ondo State, Ali Olanusi, to challenge his impeachment. West Africa Examination Council insists the results of indebted states will not be released until advance payments are made. And outside Nigeria, state of emergency set in Ferguson as violence mass shooting anniversary. Many thanks for joining us this night. Muhammadu Buhari Monday in Abuja called for an explanation from the Ministry of Finance on the foreign loans obtained for rail projects but diverted to other purposes. Speaking at the end of a presentation on the Ministry of Transport by the Permanent Secretary, Alhaji Muhammad Bashir, at the Presidential Villa, Buhari said that it was disappointing to find the foreign loans obtained in line with signed agreements were moved from one project to another. President Buhari was reacting to the specific instance of a diversion of the substantial part of the loan of $1.5 billion from the Chinese Exim Bank obtained for the construction of a standard gauge railway linking Lagos to Kano, but which was moved elsewhere. President Muhammadu Buhari is demanding an explanation how a portion of the $1 billion loan obtained for the railway project were diverted for other uses. This was after the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Transport, Muhammad Bashir, briefed him on the ongoing projects in the ministry. Presidential spokesman Garba Shehu quoted the president in his statements as expressing disappointment that loans obtained in line with signed agreements were diverted to all the users by the Finance Ministry. Speaking to journalists after the briefing, the Permanent Secretary gave a progress report on some of the rail projects.
The rehabilitation program of the old gauge lines. As you are well aware, we have completed the Lagos-Kano and it's operational. Twice a week, people move from Lagos to Kano and back to Lagos. We have also recently commenced the operations from Kano to Port Harcourt and Port Harcourt to Gombe. There, as you are aware of the situation from Gombe upwards, we have some challenges there. With regards to Abuja, Kaduna in particular, the track has been completely laid. We are now waiting for the locomotives to arrive, which have been ordered and paid for. Our belief is that we will meet the deadline of December 2015.
President Muhammadu Buhari has constituted the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, headed by Professor Isesage, a prominent professor of law and civil rights activist. The committee, according to the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, is to advise the president on the prosecution of the war against corruption and the implementation of required reforms in Nigeria's criminal justice system. Other members of the committee are Professor Femi Odekunle, Professor Etenibi Aleminika, Dr. Benedicta Daudu, Professor Sadiq Rada, Hadiza Bala Husman, Professor Balaji Owo Sonoye, who is Executive Secretary of the committee. President Muhammadu Buhari is to set an order of investigation into contracts involving the procurement of weapons for the military under the Goodluck Jonathan administration. The senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, discussed this in an interview with newsmen. Shehu spoke a few days after the immediate past chief of defense staff, Alex Bade, said he led a military that was ill-equipped. A former National Security Advisor, Kenneth Sambadazuki, retired, has also said while some weapons and equipment procured by the administration of former President Goodluck Jonathan were used to fight insurgency during the latter days of his tenure, some others were still being awaited. The presidential spokesman said Buhari was interested in taking stock of every naira that left the national treasury and for what purpose. He said Nigerians were aware the books were already being checked and the exercise was not limited to the oil sector. A federal high court in Lagos has slated August 13, 2015 for judgment in a fundamental rights enforcement suit filed by former Deputy Governor of Ondo State, Ali Olanusi, to challenge his impeachment. Olanusi, who was impeached on April 27, 2015, had sued the IG and the chairman of the seven-man investigative panel, which found him guilty of impeachable offences. Olatunji Adeniyan, Justice Muhammad Idris adjourned for judgment on Monday after taking arguments from the parties. In his suit, which was transferred from the Akure Division of the Federal High Court to the Lagos Division, so that it could be orderly heard. Olanusi is contending that the Adeniyan-led panel breached his fundamental right to fair hearing. Olanusi claims that the impeachment panel did not give him adequate time and facility to defend himself against allegations of misconduct, which he found guilty of. He therefore sought another questioning the proceedings and the report of the Adeniyan-led seven-man impeachment panel, which recommended him for impeachment. He also sought another nullifying his removal as Ondo State's Deputy Governor by the State House of Assembly on April 27, 2015. But in a preliminary objection brought before Justice Idris on Monday through Jagade, Adeniyan urged the court to discountenance Olanusi and strike him a suit. Jagade, who described Olanusi's suit as an abuse of court processes, said the ex-deputy governor goofed by approaching the court through a fundamental rights enforcement application to challenge his impeachment, pointing out that Olanusi's application was not filed in compliance with Orders X Rule 1 of the Fundamental Rights Enforcement Procedure of 2009. Jagade also said the suit was effective and urged the court to strike it out. The National Population Commission says Nigeria's issue with population figures will be eliminated if biometric counting is used for the next census. Chairman of the commission, Eze Duru Hilma, stated this while speaking with State House correspondents in Abuja. He also attributed the inability of the commission to have accurate records of birth to inadequate resources and inefficient manpower.
If the resources available to us are improved upon, so we're prepared. It would be wrong to expect Mr. President to react immediately. We made a presentation, which he didn't have preview of. He didn't have foreknowledge of what we were going to say. So it would be wrong to expect him to have reacted, almost immediately to what we said. So we expect Mr. President to chew over what we have said and come up with a response.
The National Assembly Petitions Tribunal sitting in Jos has dismissed cases challenging the election of Senator Jeremiah Uzeni and a member of the House of Representatives, Solomon Maren. Uzeni represents Plateau South, while Maren represents Boko's Mangdu Federal Constituency in Plateau State. A former Senator, Brigadier General John Shagaya, had prayed the tribunal to nullify Uzeni's election, alleging irregularities, rigging and massive inflation of figures. But the chairman of the tribunal, Justice Akeredolu, who ruled on the matter, dismissed Shagaya's application for lack of merit. She ruled that there was structural imbalance in the body of the case that deprived it of all property that made it a good case. Similarly, the tribunal in the case involving Maren held that the statements of witnesses in the petition was not properly filed. The Association of Local Governments of Nigeria, ALGAN, a body that comprises the elected chairman and other elected members of the local councils across the country, have accused the Nigeria Police Force of bias in the handling of the dissolution of elected local government council executives in Plateau State. Our Plateau State correspondent has more in this report presented from our studios.
The dissolution of the local government executive and legislative arms by the Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong is still generating reactions, as the Association of Local Government of Nigeria and the state says the police have shown bias in handling issues surrounding the dissolution. While the governor says he acted within the ambit of the law and espoused as governor, Algon in the state says it was an act done in total disregard of a subsisting court order with the alleged connivance of the police.
If you meet the police, they will tell you that between the law and the governor, they are there for the law. But in action, the police are worshipping the government. Because here the court has given us the mandate to go back to our office, and they've given the police the order to protect us while in the office, but rather the police, they've prevented us from entering our offices.
Algon boss Emmanuel Lona says what currently operates in the authority of government is illegal.
I agree with you. Definitely, we are still, by law, we are still a local government chairman, because the laws today in this country recognizes us, not them. They came as a result of illegality being perpetrated by the state government.
Loman, who spoke to newsmen after an emergency meeting of the sacked executives, called for a return to the status quo, especially as it affects obedience to court orders.
Well, as Algon on the plateau, we have calmed our people to a certain level. And you see, the point here is that one should push somebody to the wall. The expectation there is that he will bounce back. And certainly, we can calm our members in. But we are carrying this team from both sides, both from the legal aspect, doing consultation with opinion leaders, and also calming down our supporters.
While the issue of insecurity still remains a source of concern in the state, it's hoped that this growing disagreement is addressed.
This is the course of a primetime news. We'll take a break now. We'll be back on more stories. Please stay with us.
Is it crazy or autocracy? Or what type of crazy is that? Except crazy.
News making the headlines.
Black Maria is to carry criminals, trading looters that are in government today.
Sometimes it gets confrontational.
Slap you in the face. They don't put words into my mouth.
Whatever it is that will bring our military to disrepute, I said to hell.
On Core Digest,
I want to know why I should be believing them.
Every weekday, we bring all of these together and take them to the court of public opinion.
Everybody has the right in Nigeria,
where you are the judge.
You're welcome back. For more news and other programs, please visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/CoreTV News, and on Twitter at CoreTV News NG. And on YouTube.com/CoreTV Liverspace then News. The army authorities have arrested some soldiers who were photographed torturing a suspected armed robber at Maraba, Nasarawa State near Abuja. A national newspaper Monday published a picture that has since gone viral on the social media. Army spokesman Colonel Sani Usman admits that the image of a soldier flogging a naked robbery suspect is not good for the image of the service. He said in a statement that the army would ensure that the soldiers involved were punished. Usman said the army authorities have identified the soldiers and would administer the necessary punishments on them. The FCT Police Commissioner Wilson Inalagos had reassured residents of Abuja and its environs of the determination of his men to respond promptly to any distress call. Inalago gave the assurance at the decoration of a newly promoted Chief Superintendent of Police in the command. He also solicited public support through passing of valuable information to the police.
We have a pin down, and they're receiving a police post at Berger Roundabout. This is the physical security you can see. In addition to that, we have surveillance deployed around the clock. And what you see in Berger, I'll be surprised. We used to have such complaints, but of late, I've not had any complaints at Berger. But now that you have raised it, we will revisit the area. But we have taken adequate measures. In fact, there we have even the police mobile force. We have our surveillance patrols in Berger roundabout, and they are there 24/7. They don't even leave that point because of the importance, because it's a major takeoff point for residents, and we are very conscious of that. Another thing we are doing is addressing the issue of unpainted taxis. This we do in collaboration with the FCT Director of Road Traffic Services. And also we have the Joint Tax Team on city cleaning that conducts robust rates, proactive rates. So when we find suspicious people in those locations, we also conduct raids. But please leave the ranks behind you.
The Deputy Inspector General of Police, Naman Safi, is seeking better relations between the police in Kaduna and members of the immediate community. He made the suggestion during an inspection tour at the command headquarters. The Deputy Inspector General also spoke on how a good relationship would ease information flow.
Will enhance your performances. Don't constitute yourselves into bosses. Open the way for members of the community to see that you are an accessible officer, although not compromising the tenets of the duty. Requires that every policeman must adopt and be facing the challenges of security head on.
So these personnel, these officers and the men are reputed, resilient, dedicated, and ruthless in the execution of their duties, thus have kept Kaduna's state relatively safer. Armed robbery suspects arrested, 86. Arms recovered, 70. Number of live and ammunition recovered, 311. Stolen vehicles recovered, 24. Cattle rustlers arrested, 20. Animals recovered, 3,598. And the other suspects arrested, about 246. To secure a safer Kaduna, the command has adopted an intelligent driving, result-oriented and active and a well-structured visibility patrol system, which involves sporadic, unscheduled, but adequately organized and highly sophisticated raiding strategy that is proactive, preventive, and offensive against crime in its definition and execution. Nevertheless, this is done in collaboration with the community stakeholders and the other security agencies.
The West Africa Examination Council says results of government-sponsored candidates of indebted state will not be released until there is advanced payment guarantees from reputable banks. The head of Nigerian National Office of the examination body, Charles Eguridi, reiterated this while announcing the results of the 2015 major West African Senior School Certificate Examination. Abiola Oluwole has more in this package.
According to the head, WAEC National Office, Charles Eguridi, out of 1.5 million candidates who sat for the May June examination, results of 118,101 candidates are being withheld in connection with various cases of examination malpractice.
The cases are being investigated, and reports of the investigations will be presented to the Nigerian Examinations Committee of the Council in due course for consideration. The committee's decisions will be communicated to the affected candidates through their schools.
Eguridi, who says a total of 758,849 candidates obtained 6 credits and above, insisted that the result of candidates of debtor states will not be released until such states fulfill their financial obligations to the examination body.
After reviewing the situation, the Council has decided that results of government-sponsored candidates of indebted states will be released if such states endeavor to produce advance payment guarantees from reputable banks, so that the Council will be assured that the fees will be paid.
It will be recalled that WAEC raised an alarm on the debt issue at a media briefing held on July 27th. The action of the examination body has prompted some states to respond positively.
Other states on their own have paid. I've not even mentioned the names of the states that have paid, except the governor of Ogun State that announced his own. And on those states, you have told, made an announcement. I have not even told you the states that have paid, that are not even owing. So the situation is rather fluid as it is now.
The results will be made available on the official website of WAEC 24 hours after the release. Abiola Oluwole, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The Department of Petroleum Resources Owerri Zone Office has condemned in strong terms the sales of petroleum products, especially the premium motor spirit, above the 87 naira federal government's approved price. The zone controller of the DPR, Innocent Ndubuka, made this known in an interview with CoreTV News in Owerri. Correspondent Ajibadia Wofeso has more in this report.
Since the decision by former President Goodluck Jonathan reducing the pump price for the premium motor spirit, also known as petrol, compliance with the new price of 87 naira has become a major sticking point for most marketers who say they buy over the approved price and so cannot be expected to sell for less. But for the Department of Petroleum Resources, this is nothing but a smoke screen. Speaking through its Owerri zonal controller, Bambo Innocent Ndubuka, the agency says it will not shift ground on the issue regardless of where the marketers source the products from.
We have not relented in that enforcement, but you know the attitude of the average marketer is such that when he's aware of the presence of DPR, he adjusts to compliance level. Yeah. But once the DPR leaves the scenario, leaves the station, they quickly readjust back to the old, to their a recalcitrant offender run the risk of their storage and sales license being revoked, and that would be the height of it.
If I purchase one at the rate of 102 naira from Canada, including transportation fee, settlement of good Nigerians in the road, that's our securities. After settling all of them and the fuel landed here at the rate of 105 or 1 something, then put the cost of expenses here. When checking all these things, you then check how much is your profit. If we eventually fall to this type of thing DPR is talking about, are we able to raise our cost price?
Despite the complaints by other marketers, a major filling station in the city has been consistently selling at the government-approved price. The big question is, who is playing the ostrich?
But for us, this is what we do. Like a product that was brought to me this morning came at the rate of zip, at the rate of 77.66 kobo from the depot. So paying the transportation and the trucking fare to the station, I know where you will still sell. You must have to sell at that same 87. If you're getting at 77 naira. So we will sell even from the depot, we will sell at regulated prices. And the station will also make sure it comes here so that we can also sell at 87 naira.
For the DPR, motorists should stand on their right whenever they have cause to visit the filling stations to get product. He also spoke out on the practice by fuel stations to under-dispense to motorists.
And the pumps designed primarily to under-deliver when they malfunction or when there's a deviation from their throughput. Why don't they also over? So you find that 99% of the time, what we have encountered is under-delivery, and that's why I'm going the extra mile of not shutting down the pump. If I come to a station where there are 4 pumps and 2 are under-delivery, and shut the station down.
With this riot act by the DPR, it is expected that compliance with the approved price will be achieved. Ajibade Awofeso, CoreTV News, Owerri.
You're still watching CoreTV Primetime News. To take another break, I'll be back with more stories. Don't go away.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water, and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly.
Talk to her husband that you should keep promise about what you said, and because people are watching you, you know, another election is coming.
Also, some people will stand for Yoruba land, will be strong man. You don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
And outside Nigeria, Turkish special forces cleared the streets during clashes with attackers at the Sultanbeyli Street district in Istanbul. 2 assailants have opened fire at the U.S. consulate building in Istanbul and engaged in a gunfight to security personnel only hours after a bomb attack at a police station in another part of the city, according to local media reports. Turkish media said no consulate staff members were hurt in the attack in the Saria district, while at least 10 people, including 7 police officers, were wounded in a blast at the police station in the southern Teli district. Both attacks occurred on Monday morning. One of the assailants in the attack to the consulate, a female who was wounded during the shootout with police, was later captured by an apartment nearby. Ordinary police was searching for a second suspect, who was reportedly male. Meanwhile, 2 suspected police station attackers and a police officers were killed in an exchange of fire at another point of the city later in the morning. Authorities declared a state of emergency in Ferguson, Missouri after gunfire erupted on the anniversary of a high-profile police shooting, and prosecutors on Monday charged an 18-year-old man with assaults on officers. The man, Tyron Harris, was critically wounded in an exchange of gunfire with police on Sunday night as people mocked the shooting death 1 year ago of an unarmed black man, Michael Brown, by a white officer in Ferguson, a suburb of St. Louis. Police said Harris was being treated in hospital. The St. Louis County prosecutors charged Harris, whose bond was set at $250,000 on 4 counts, including assault on law enforcement and shooting at a motor vehicle. The violence, which also included a drive-by shooting and police being pelted with objects, prompted Louis County to declare a state of emergency. Police in Afghanistan's capital say suicide bomber is attacked a checkpoint near the entrance to Kabul's international airport. A health ministry spokesman said 7 civilians were injured in the blast, which happened shortly after midday local time. Security officials at the scene said the attack appeared to target a convoy of armored cars. The incident is the latest in a series of recent deadly attacks in Kabul. Kabul police chief Gul Akaz Rouhani told reporters that a suicide bomber had driven a vehicle into the first checkpoint in the road into the airport. Images showed a large plume of smoke rising from the site of the blast, and local reporters seen ambulances approaching the scene. It is unclear who is behind the bombing, but the Taliban said it carried out one of 3 deadly attacks on Friday that killed at least 50 people. A Taliban suicide bomber blew himself up near the city's police academy on Friday evening, killing about 20 recruits. A short while later, gunmen launched an attack on Camp Integrity, a NATO base that houses U.S. Special Forces near the airport. 11 people, including a NATO soldier and 8 contractors, were killed in the attack on the base. Early on Friday, a truck carrying explosives was detonated near an army base in the South Sahid area of the capital, claiming 15 lives. Another word of sports.
Power style, that's what he delivered. Here's that ball, storming, Puyol with a flying lead.
Bo taking them out in the lead.
President Muhammadu Buhari extends hearty congratulations to Nigeria's team at the just concluded Special Olympics in Los Angeles, United States. President Buhari commends the team for their diligence, dedication, and wonderful performance at the Games, in which they won a total of 71 medals, including 34 gold medals. The president applauds the Special Olympics' inspiring victories in Angeles, which he believes epitomizes the true Nigerian spirit and his personal conviction that whatever challenges we face as a nation, we can overcome them. Dedication, hard work, and perseverance and rise to highest possible levels of accomplishment. President Buhari assures the athletes that the federal and all Nigerians are very proud of their exemplary and dominant performance at the Special Olympics, in which they won medals in all featured events. The president looks forward to receiving members of the team at the presidential villa to celebrate their brilliant victories in Los Angeles. The Nigeria Hockey Federation has concluded an arrangement to select new players for the hockey national team from the ongoing National Super League. Members of the board told newsmen in Kaduna the players discovered during the competition will join some players who emerged from a recent age grade contest. The board is also not comfortable with the poor sponsorship of hockey competition in the country.
This is not just a competition for the luxury of it. This nation has qualified for a continental meet, and here we're hitting 2 birds with 1 stone. First of all, it's a Super League qualification, which means from these boys we'll have a state that will represent Nigeria in the continental meet.
There were 8 group tournament that was played in Abuja, and this is the best super or the highest tournament in the federation, which is the Super League. It is now ongoing. We will be here for a good 1 week. The purpose of this one is those who qualified the 18 from last year, who are now going to form probably our national team selection in this tournament.
Arsenal manager Arsene Wenger says his team will recover from the nerves they suffered in their opening day Premier League defeat by West Ham. The Gunners lost 2-0 at home on Sunday despite having 62 of possession and 22 shots. Wenger says they will respond to the accident. He added that the players probably were too nervous and under pressure.
У него 1,5 секунды ушло на все это дело, развернулся в Вест Хэм Юнайтед. Вот поставил корпус, все от него отвязались, чех двигается.
Wenger, whose side finished 3rd last season and won the FA Cup, has been under pressure to add players to his squad. The keeper Peter Cech, a $10 million signing from Chelsea, the only summer arrival at the Emirates.
Я смотрю вниз, и пока я смотрел в монитор за повторами, Тео Уолкотт уже появился на поле, 14 номер.
Liverpool manager Brendan Rodgers says he nearly substituted Felipe Coutinho before his late winner at Stoke. Brazil midfielder Coutinho scored the only goal with a stunning long-range strike in an otherwise drab encounter. Rodgers says he's glad he kept him and was fortunate he got the goal and stayed on.
Just as thoughts were turning to the possibility of a 0-0 draw, a goal to savour and remember from Liverpool's oh-so-talented Brazilian.
Well, a goal that deserves to win any game. For me, I think this is absolutely brilliant. That little kind of nimble turn he's got, and Stoke have managed to close this situation down all day when he's tried to unleash one.
Manchester City manager Manuel Pellegrino says winger Raheem Sterling does not deserve criticisms over his move from Liverpool. Sterling, 20, became the most expensive British transfer after City paid $49 million to sign the England international. Pellegrino says he has settled in very well, adding he wants to join City and embrace new challenges. City began their Premier League campaign at West Brom on Monday, British Standard Time. Japan's Kei Nishikori rallied to defeat Big 7 American John Isner 4-6, 6-4, 6-4 on Sunday to win the Washington Open and capture his 10th career ATP title. The 25-year-old Asian #1 won his third crown of the season after defending titles at Memphis and Barcelona, taking the $343,000 top prize at the U.S. Capitals combined ATP and WTA hard-court event, a warm-up for the U.S. Open that starts in 3 weeks. Nishikori, who will rise one spot in world rankings on Monday to match his career high of 4th, was last year's U.S. Open runner-up to Russian Marlon Cilic, whom he beat in the Washington semifinals in their first meeting since last year in New York. Shane Lowry's victory at the WGC Bristol Invitation on Sunday means Scott Martin Laird will compete in this week's U.S. PGA in Wisconsin. Laird, 32, was forced reserve for the final major of the year, which begins his Whistling Straits on Thursday. The WGC Bridgestone Invitational winner qualifies for the U.S. PGA, but Lowry had already secured his place in the field. 7 schools will compete, including Stephen Young, a club professional who has been based in the USA since 1995. A 38-year-old joins 12 professionals Stephen Galasher, Mark Warren, Richie Ramsey, and US-based Pearl Rochelle Knox, and Laird plus senior PGA champion Colin Montgomery in the field of Whistling Straits. Nigerian actress Tunto Charity Dike, also known as Tunto Dike, had an introduction ceremony over the weekend. Tunto Dike over the weekend changed her name to Mrs. Churchill and its social media platforms. Tunto is pregnant did her introduction to a man, Oladuni Churchill, in Port Harcourt. Recently, Tunto Les, as fondly called by fans, took to her Instagram page to warn women about their love lives and revealed how they might get over an illusion. Well, that's it to wrap on CoreTV Primetime News, but before we go, a quick reminder of a major story. We also brought you a report that the Federal High Court set dates for judgment in a suit filed by former Deputy Governor of Ondo State, Adeola Lanusi, to challenge his impeachment. And finally, West Africa Examination Council insists results of the Delta State will not be released until advanced payments are made. Many thanks for watching. I am Olajumoke Olatide. You have a wonderful night rest.